that groovy tune, we welcome you all to, well, I think there's opportunity, most of the time in the markets. So the option pit song is always upbeat, right? There's something to be said for every market condition, and right now, what do we have? I'm Andrew Giovinazzi, Chief Operating Officer of OptionPit.com, home for options education, as Mark would say, best options education website in the world. And here we are looking at, well, what is the turnaround in the Qs? What are we down 50, now down 12, S&P 500, kind of bounding back a little bit. Let's just take a look at a few things. So clear panel of dumb money versus smart money. Great blog by Mark. You should take a look at it. Okay? So what's going on? It feels like every morning the Europeans sell our futures because they need to sell something, and then they kind of stop. Okay, let's look at a couple of, I'll just give you my one tell that we haven't really seen yet. Okay? Just because volatility goes up doesn't mean it is a reason to sell it. What I want to see one day is I want to see volatility close on the low of the day. Okay, we were close yesterday. We were close. Okay, very close. And I like that idea, by the way, Hans. That guys are talking in our chat room. Also, okay, before we go on, just a couple. But anyway, what I really want to do is for me to add some, let's say, more XIV or something like that, kind of get involved. I'd like to see vol have some days of subsiding. So, every day we have these backward futures. You've got the pressure is still pulling futures up toward cash. Don't forget, this October future is going to expire in 5 days. And right now that expiration price is 26.61, which is a lot higher. Now most of the vol products don't have much October left in them. They're mostly November. But still, right, the pull is up for everything. That's a $5 pull for November. So if we continue to have day after day of volatility, those futures are still going to be just drifted up and are going to drift up and drift up to that cash price, which pulls all the vol products up. So, why get involved too heavily waiting for them to go back down when the gravity is pulling them back up? Okay, so that's why for me it's easy just to sit and wait a little bit. Let's see if we can get vol to subside and try to look at other places. Look for more realized vol bets that seem to be a little bit better because the market just moves all over the place. Okay. So what do we got? Just a little bit of what do I expect today? We had a great jobs number. Okay. The Europeans might be screwing up, but it seems like we don't. Where was that jobs number? It was like 15-year low or something. I just had it up here. Anyway, take my word for it. Really nice jobs number. Okay, which means probably rates go higher here, and probably Europe doesn't grow a whole lot, right? And that's where we are. Does that mean the equity market's worth 2,000 SPX or 1,800 SPX? Who knows? Maybe 1,700 SPX. Let's see here. 264 versus 290 estimate. Oh, so again, it's good, right? I saw like a 14. I just was reading it right before when it just popped up. Okay. So really low jobless claims. That's great, right? Anyway, I'm sure they'll pick it apart and say the number's not that good or anything. But this is a reality. Europe, if they're going to grow, is going to grow slow because they've got bigger issues than we do. We have issues, but we don't have issues as big as they do. Okay? What does that mean? Okay? It means our equity markets probably don't have a lot of reason to go higher. Right? Right? We'll see what happens, with the next Fed announcement, but you got to be realistic here. They're really going to try QE when you have such strong underlying numbers, and I think that's what the equity market is going through. It is going through exactly what happened in the spring of 2013. Okay, let's go to 2013 springtime. We got to go a little deeper. Okay. spring 2013. Okay. And that was right around, I believe it was here. Let's go to SPY. And essentially we had about I don't know, what, that 10% correction or something like that. Right? Where was it? We kind of did this little fall off the cliff here. Boom. You know, that was around 10 handles, 7 or 8%. And then all of a sudden the Fed's like, whoa, wait a minute, we're not going to go that fast. Okay? Right now, we have on a percentage basis, we're almost there. It's about 10% down. So it's real similar to kind of, well, and from the top, right, from let's say 184 down to 156, right, that's around 26 handles. Okay, well over 10%. And that's essentially what we're doing. The market had pretty much decided the Fed was getting out, and then the Fed surprised everybody. Okay, that number at the time, where we were at the time, we were about 170, drifting down to 155. That's a 15-handle move, right? So that's kind of where we are. Okay, we've actually had a good year of economic growth in numbers, whatever. So, you know, can you get down to there? Sure. Why not? Are we going to do it today? Doesn't look like it. Right? At least we have had growth through this whole thing. So a big part of the market falling apart was the collapse in oil prices, which took about 10% of the market cap out of the S&P 500 and all the oil producers and everything down. That's been a part of this. Good old-fashioned selling, Ebola panic, whatever. So what we need, though, is you need vol to subside at some point before, at least for me, I get interested in selling some more. Because at this point, you're still just pin tops. So would it surprise me today if we were up 1% from here? Would it surprise me? No. Okay? Because the reality is the realized volatility is here, and it's going to stay here. A 24 VIX, 25 VIX is about 1.5% per day, close to close. We're easily doing that, right? So trades you make, you have to think realized vol is going to stay here until it stops. And right now, we really haven't seen that yet. We're going to have another opening tomorrow, and maybe the Europeans sell some more. Who knows? Because the news there is the growth is pretty much dead until they do what they need to do. And my guess is once they start making some hard decisions again, vis-a-vis like in 2012 or 2013 when they started cutting some budgets, that's when the euro took off, and that's when their economy started to grow again. Now all of a sudden they're coming against the same thing. They got to do round two. And that's where we are. So expect volatility to stay where we are, but honestly, we could be 1,700 SPX, we could be 1,900 SPX, and that could be in 3 days. Because that's the realized vol we're trading right now, and it ain't going away. Okay? So that's, in my mind, the type of trade you want to structure. So we'll go over that in our pit report today. Also, for those of you who like listening to the sound of my voice, in the Thinkorswim swim lessons room on the TD Ameritrade platform, which is right here. Whoops, nope. Chat room. Okay, swim lessons. I am here every day at 12 Central, 1 Eastern time with the Options Oddities program. Feel free to drop in if you're a member of Thinkorswim. And you can ask me questions, whatever, but we do go over some funky activity there for a half hour every day. Also coming up, what do we got coming up? We got a lot of stuff coming up. On our event tab, okay, aptly named, use volatility to put the wind at your trades back, using vol to trade some direction. Okay, this is a free event for October 23rd. That's next week. We will be having a follow-up paid webinar in early November on this particular subject. Okay, and we're going to be putting that out very soon. So a lot of these have been well attended. For all Option Pit subscribers that are Option Pit Live or above, it is free. Right? All right, everybody. So again, we're looking for more of the same today. Right? Just because the market is up for some reason doesn't mean it's going to stay up. right? It's certainly just that's the way it's been trading. Okay. I have to say though, every time I see these bonds kind of recede a little bit, okay, every time I see these bonds recede a little bit, it doesn't look too bad when those long bonds start to drift a little down lower, right? Because that's certainly been the panic button lately. All right, everybody, you have a good day, and we will see you all at the rest of Option Pit Live and our Platinum courses and our Gold Labs later in the day. Bye-bye.